Hello and welcome to Not Very Scary Stories. This episode will have 2 stories from the internet, just like the last episode. Be sure to leave a sub, follow, or whatever you can on whatever platform you're on. Also, be sure to leave a review so people will know to listen in as well. I'd like to thank you guys for the support thus far on all the platforms you can find us on, including YouTube. I'd also like to remind everyone that if you have any scary stories or experiences you'd like to share, email me at notveryscaryent@gmail.com and tell me how you'd like to be credited. I'm Zenith Darksky, and I'll be your host tonight. Enjoy. The first story for today was posted on r/paranormal by user/metallics22. I've never been a non-believer, but I have to see it to believe it. Although I am open to the unexplainable and enjoy reading about it, I also love when something is debunked. I have always found the scariest things to be people. This experience might have something to do with the way I perceive things now. This happened in the late 90s, maybe early aughts. I was probably between 8 to 10 years old and in the Cub Scouts. Our troop would pretty much always go to the same campground. They had maybe 10 big cabins. Each cabin had a small kitchen, a dining area with 4 to 6 picnic tables, and a giant room with about a dozen bunk bed cots lined up along the walls. There would be a burning wood stove in the center. In our troop, all the boys' dads would go camping too. The dads would take the bottom bunk and the boys would be on top. This particular time we got a corner bunk closest to the front door. My best friend and his dad, Vietnam vet and a tough guy, were the next bunk over. A little about me. I was always a very shy and socially anxious person. I only ever spoke when spoken to by an adult, and only really talked much with my best friend. I was also kind of a sissy, still kinda am. These were just one-nighter camping trips, and after a normal day it's now bedtime. It's cold out, so there's a fire in the stove casting a warm reddish glow around the big room. However, still it's dark inside. I can't remember if I couldn't fall asleep or if I woke up, but I was awake. The whole room was dimly lit up, and it was like shooting stars in a light show all above the room and the peaks and above the bunks. It was like a massive party. I can't believe it, and look over at my friend to see if he's awake. He's sound asleep. I look back at the light show, and a dimly lit white light swoops down and comes towards me. As it gets closer, I see a dimly lit white girl's face, but with big 2 to 3 inch black circles as eyes. Her face is about a foot from mine, and we just stare at each other. It was kind of like the ghostly apparition that came out of the Ark in Indiana Jones, but she didn't transform and wasn't menacing. I don't remember if she was floating or if I was looking down at her on the floor as she looked up at me. I don't do or say anything. I don't scream or try to wake anyone up. Not sure if I was frozen or didn't want to bother anyone. I was more just curious, like, what's going on? This is weird. After staring at each other for maybe a minute or two, I start to freak out, wondering what I should do. I decide to just turn my back on the situation. I roll over, face the wall, and close my eyes. I eventually fell asleep, and we all got up the next morning and left. I did not feel good, and I did not tell anyone about what happened. A couple years later, on another camping trip, some of the kids were talking about ghosts, and I guess there was a rumor that one of those cabins was haunted. I think I know which one. This next scary story is called More Than Sleep Paralysis. This one is by user/darkhero XX. he had an episode in our very first, or he had a story in our very first episode. So be sure to check out this user's website at http://www.theseanceexp.com, where you may enjoy their personal content creation journey as well. I had a long day at work, 12-hour shift, so when I got home I crashed on my bed. I must have been in a deep sleep because I had the wildest dream. I dreamt that something was chasing me, but when I looked back at it, all I could see was like a dark silhouette of a man with no visible features. Running as fast as I could in a dark, endless hallway, I suddenly felt burning cold hands on my shoulders. Then I woke up. I was back in my bedroom and I was freezing cold. I looked down to see that my blankets and pillows were gone. I then noticed I couldn't move at all. The only thing I was able to move were my eyes. My eyes darted around the room and I saw something at the entrance to my bedroom door. It was a tall and slender man with a wide, toothy smile that stretched from ear to ear. His eyes were forced wide and they were almost glowing a pale yellow. He was making a chattering noise like insects crawling over each other, and he was slowly making his way towards me. I wanted to scream to tell him to stop or try to run away, but he got closer and closer. Each of his steps sounded like his joints were snapping and breaking, all while his mouth made that disgusting chattering noise. I don't know what to do. All I could do was just cry as he finally loomed over me. He was towering over me, my bed, and just his torso moved to me. His smile was right next to my face, and I felt a hot breath hit me. I'm not religious, but I prayed for something or someone to just fucking save me. Then I saw his arm move and stretch towards me. Despair completely overtook me, as I could only watch as it started at my ankle and brushed its long hand over along my body. It moved up my leg to my face and it started chattering again. I looked into its face, but I couldn't see any more but eyes and teeth as it smiled at me. He brushed his sharp, claw-like fingers over my face and put one finger over my mouth. His chattering noise stopped, and all I could hear was a deep and guttural as it proceeded to sink underneath my bed. Honestly, at that point, I was so scared I think I passed out. Morning came and I woke up. I could move, so I jumped onto the floor and looked underneath my bed. Nothing. Was it just a dream? I walked to the bathroom and splashed cold water on my face. It must have been a dream. Maybe work has got me stressed out. But that's when I looked into the mirror and gasped. My reflection was smiling, ear to ear.